So I've never set foot inside Townsend's Stadium. I know a guy that will be doing that on Sunday as our next guest here on the show. He is Nick Acquaviva. He is one of the Orange men's lacrosse assistant coaches. He works with the goalies. He works with the faceoff guys. Welcome in, Nick. And man, you're working with the goalies and faceoff guys, especially this time of year. Like that feels like that's where all the pressure lands right this time of the season, with every possession meaning so much at this time of year.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The middle of the field is where the playoff games are won and lost, if you ask me. But it's not a unfamiliar place for me. I was a longtime goalie, so being able to coach those guys is a lot of fun.
All right, take me into this. Let's go back to Sunday night. So Orange, first time in the playoffs here in a few years. You guys are out there in the first half. I mean, literally back and forth. Nobody's up by more than one. You hit the locker room down by one. What allowed you guys to come out and have the third quarter that you did on Sunday night?
I think it was just a lot of belief in having done it before, and we know what our offense is capable of, and just how many times can we get them the ball and the number of possessions you're able to have. And, that second half, we started winning a bunch of faceoffs in a row there during that stretch, and that it really allows our offense to get rolling and helps our defense kind of settle down a little bit when they're not having to play so many possessions.
Yeah, both of your face-off guys, go figure, and Mason Cohn and John Mullins scored goals on Sunday night. You get Fogo scoring goals like that, you're probably going to win. When both of those guys strike, what is it like on the sideline when that happens?
Oh, it exploded. It was great. The bench just goes wild for those guys. It really brings a lot of energy and momentum, and it's a lot of fun to see those guys. Happy for them. It's not a very common instance where you get both the Fogos to get a goal and an assist, so that was really awesome.
I mean, they both putting one in is Mason's had a great season, but both popping them in like that is truly something, especially come face-off time. But what's it like for you to deal with that? Because, Mason's been your main guy this year, but it's not like he's taken like 90% of the face-offs. John Mullen's been in there plenty. How do you balance that throughout the game? How do you judge, hot hand, back and forth? How do you handle the rotation as the game goes along?
Yeah, for us, it's kind of a situation where we're just trying to keep it split, not overuse one guy or the other. And then if maybe at halftime we notice, like Johnny's having a lot of success, he's winning the ball a little bit cleaner. Not that Mason wasn't winning the actual face-off itself, but I think what kind of happens after the clamp and what happens after the ball gets out of that X area can really determine the winner and the loser. And Johnny Mullen was just able to kind of quickly get it in and out and get it to himself and get off the field. So, Mason was the one that really came forward, and he's super mature guy, great team leader. And he said, I think, hey, we'll start with Johnny and kind of go from there. And I agreed with him. So that's kind of how we took on this last game. But usually we're just trying to keep it as balanced as we can and then adapt as the game goes on to see who's having more success and who isn't.
That says a lot, doesn't it, Nick, right? Mason Cohen, he's a first year at Syracuse, but multi-sport veteran at Tufts. He's been around collegiate sports in both games for a while. That, if he's willing to come up and tell you that, you got to feel good about how your unit's operating, right?
Yeah, he's been great all year. That wasn't the first occasion he's come up. Sometimes, I think maybe he's a little harder on himself than he actually is, and it took a little bit of going back and rewatching the film for him to kind of, I wasn't as bad as I actually thought I was, and things like that. But he's been an awesome teammate. He's super competitive, and by no means is he just taking himself out because he doesn't think he can win. He just thinks it gave the team a better opportunity to let Johnny take a couple there in a row, and it certainly worked out.
It feels like Nick Acquaviva, one of the Orange men's lacrosse assistant coaches, is our guest right now. This time of year, you can be a great face-off guy all year, right? But face-off guys get the crap beat out of them. You get worn down, and you may run out of gas before you get to the more important games of the season. How important was that idea of, all right, two guys is great, but we need to have them both humming when we try to make this last push here in the last 2 weeks of the year?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was kind of our goal going all the way back to last season, because we knew we had Johnny Mullen coming in that class, and we just wanted to find another guy and an upperclassman with great leadership, and we were able to find Mason, and he's done exactly that. I think he's done an awesome job being a leader of that group, and being able to keep the mileage down on him and Johnny at the same time. And, I don't think there's many teams in the country that have two face-off guys that are equally as talented. For us, we don't have any qualms about rolling out either one of those two.
Yeah, and it worked out. Certainly Sunday. It's worked out all season long for Syracuse. All right, Nick, let's go to the cage. Will Mark comes in last year. I mean, he's a stud from word one. Great all last season, All-American season. He was great most of this season. Then we get to the first quarter at Duke, and it just a big struggle. Last week, a big struggle in the first quarter. What clicked it back into him? I recall one save in the second, or one possession second quarter. He made like back-to-back saves. Is it as simple as that? You can click back in as a goalie. What's this last few weeks been like for Will?
I know the Duke game was very tough for him. It was actually, I think, his first time ever being pulled in his collegiate career. So it's kind of adds to the list of the things that he's done. And, for us last week against Duke, I think it was more of just trying to change a pace and get a spark. I wouldn't necessarily say that he was playing poorly. I think, our defensive guys would even admit that we're just giving up a lot of shots that are hard to save and from some really great shooters. It kind of got on us early and it kind of snowballed. And, for me, I thought it was just an opportunity to see if we could get Jimmy in, get a spark, get us rolling in the right direction. And even, when I first took Will out, I spoke to him about, hey, stay ready. We're going to put you back in the game. And we obviously didn't get a chance to put him back in. I thought Jimmy was playing well, and we were trying to claw our way back in there, and just didn't have enough time. And, this past weekend with Will, I thought, again, a little bit of a shaky start from the outside. We kind of classify shots a little differently here. Not everything is created equal. We call things shoulda, couldas, and stolums. Those shouldas are anything outside of 10, 12 yards that you should definitely have. Couldas are anything 12 to about 5 yards where you're stepping to the ball, you're seeing it, you're tracking it well, and you really think like you could have had that. And then the stolums are anything within 5 yards that are really, we're just looking to get a couple stolums a game, and we don't really expect our goalies to make those, but when they do, it's a bonus. And I thought early on in the game we didn't do a great job of giving him shots that he could track and see. We gave up a quick stick from 4 yards, I think was the first one, and then a man-up goal. And it becomes difficult to get your flow of the game when you're not getting great shot selections. And then, like you said, I think he saw a couple there in that second quarter that he was able to track, see from distance, and really get going. And, once you see a couple as a goalie, you feel like you're settled in and you can save them all.
Will Mark, and he's had more than his fair share of stolums, right, over the last couple of years. But, I mean, you said it yourself. You played goalie back when you played. Nick, how much is it with a goalie? I mean, you know how it is. Goalies are built a little different than most everybody else running around the field. Like, how much can one play, like one save like that, just blank out all the bad stuff that has happened and lock you guys back in?
I think it's just a constant battle of belief, right? At one moment you think you're the greatest player ever, and then the next it's like, I can't save anything. So all it takes is just that one to reinstill that belief that, okay, I actually know what I'm doing in here. I can save this ball. I can see it. Goalies, like you said, are a different breed for sure. So it's kind of one of those things. You're constantly having that inner conversation, that inner talk that you're trying to be positive with yourself, positive self-talk, and Will's done a great job he always believes in himself, and I believe in him as well. And, that's why we kind of stuck with him through those tough times in the first half of the Towson game.
All right, Nick Acquaviva is with us. And, Nick, I'm intrigued about this. Like, for many, many years around here under John Desko, like, the entire staff was all, Syracuse alums, Syracuse All-Americans. It was all Syracuse players. Obviously, Gary Gait is the all-time legend as the head coach. But, you're a local guy, CNS OCC, but did not play at Cuse. Pat March and John O'Dearna, they've got CNY connections, but did not play here. How is that all tied in? It's a little different than we're used to, but it feels like you guys all have, strong Syracuse history despite not being, alums of the program.
Yeah, for me, I grew up local and loving Syracuse, so it was easy sell for me. I've had a lot of friends that have played through the program, and a lot of connections to Syracuse lacrosse in that sense. So I think that goes a long way. You kind of have a strong understanding of what the expectations are, and I think it's been a great mixture of of us D3 assistant guys, and Coach Gait is the legend of Syracuse. So it's a really interesting mix, and it's been a great experience so far, and hopefully keep it going.
No, explain to us best you can. What is it like working under Gary Gait?
He's honestly, he's amazing. He's million stories, knows everyone. You walk around the dome during a basketball game, and people are coming up asking for pictures, and it's just he's just an awesome, grateful person and caring person, and he's just extremely knowledgeable. If there's any type of situation, he's probably been in it as a coach or a player. Jokingly the other day, some of the guys asking him questions about when he was playing, and he made a comment about being a player and coach, and the guys didn't realize that he was a player, coach, and GM all at the same time. So he's legendary. There's no one quite like him. He's had, all the experience in the world. He's done it all on the lacrosse side of things, men's and women's. So he's been through it all. So it's pretty awesome to be around that on a daily basis and getting to learn from him and see how he operates. It's pretty awesome.
I'd say Gary is very rarely doing one thing at a time. He usually's got a lot of balls in the air. As you guys get ready for the quarterfinals here this weekend, and we know the history here, Nick. It's been a long time. It's been 11 years since Syracuse has made the Final Four. You look up and down the roster. There's not a lot of guys, right, that have been in this moment before. You look at Jake and Sammy with their experience from Princeton a few years ago, and maybe a few others. How do you approach a game like this when these guys have just not seen this moment yet before?
Yeah, I think it's a conversation that starts in January, really. And when we talk about our goals and what we want to accomplish, it's a conversation that starts all the way back in even the fall, but, really start talking about goals and things like that in January. And, this was obviously one of our goals. And I think for teams without a lot of experience, it's something you need to talk about, right? You can't be afraid of the boogeyman and not talk about going to the Final Four and all those things. You need to talk about it. If that's your goal and where you want to be, you have to, make comments and talk about it and make it aware to everyone where we want to go. And I think we've done a great job of balancing on, hey, what's the next game and what do we have to do to prepare for that, but also keeping an eye towards what the big picture goal here really is.
And, hey, the big picture goal here, it's never changed over the years. It's always been Final Four. It's always been national championship. All right, lastly here for you, Nick, it is Denver coming up here. We know this is a good team. It's going to start right with your position group, right? One of their best guys is their faceoff guy, and Alex Stathakis. What's this matchup like for you guys on Sunday, and how far do you think that's going to go to deciding this thing?
I think it's going to be a great matchup. He's extremely experienced. I think he's got almost 1,000 career faceoffs for Denver. He's another freak kind of athlete. There's no slouches when we get down to 8 teams here with the faceoff guys. He's an awesome athlete. I think it's going to be, a highly contested, great battle. And, hopefully our 2 guys can go out there and compete for every single one of those draws and loose ball situations. So I think it's going to be a good back and forth battle, and I think we'll come out on top, but that's why they play the game.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. Again, noon Sunday, Syracuse and Denver for the right to go to the Final Four. All right, great to talk, Nick. Best of luck this weekend, and hopefully we'll be watching you guys again come Memorial Day, but thanks for hopping on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
There he is, Nick Acquaviva, the faceoff and goalies coach under Gary Gait on the Syracuse Orange Lax team. And man, I get it. Faceoffs and goalies are important in every game. You get to this time of year, quarterfinal games. I go into every quarterfinal game. You just assume it's going to be a 1-goal game and work backwards from there. What's important in a 1-goal game? A goalie making a save and somebody winning a faceoff going into the last possession.